In the cold expanse of space, where stars burned like distant embers and nebulae painted cosmic murals, humanity had become a memory. Centuries ago, Earth had fallen to its own hubris, climate collapse, resource wars, and finally, an alien invasion that left nothing but ash in its wake. The invaders, known as the Vorthak, were ruthless and efficient, their hive-mind intelligence erasing any trace of resistance. Humanity's last bastion fell within decades, and soon the species was declared extinct, or so everyone thought. Captain Xylar of the Vorthak fleet stood on the bridge of his cruiser, staring at the shimmering holoscreen before him. His mandibles twitched with irritation as he reviewed the latest transmission from High Command. They had detected a faint energy signature emanating from a derelict asteroid belt, a signal unlike anything they'd encountered before. It pulsed irregularly, almost defiantly. "This is impossible," Xylar muttered under his breath, his clawed fingers tapping against the console. All humans are dead, but curiosity gnawed at him. If there was even a chance this signal belonged to one of those fabled creatures, it could mean glory or disaster for the Vorthak Empire. He ordered his crew to investigate. On the surface of the largest asteroid buried beneath layers of ice and rock, a single figure stirred. She called herself Kayla, though she no longer remembered if that was truly her name. For years, perhaps decades, she had drifted through the void, surviving on scraps of technology salvaged from abandoned ships. Her body was half machine now, augmented by scavenged parts to keep her alive in the unforgiving vacuum of space. She didn't know why she endured, perhaps out of sheer stubbornness or some primal instinct to survive. Kayla's sensors detected movement above her. A ship, a massive one, was descending toward the asteroid. Its silhouette was unmistakable. Vorthak. Panic surged through her. Circuits. But she forced herself to remain calm. She couldn't fight them head-on. She wasn't equipped for battle anymore. Instead, she activated her cloaking device and slipped deeper into the shadows of the asteroid's tunnels. Xylar's forces landed swiftly, deploying drones and scouts to sweep the area. Their scans revealed traces of artificial activity, but no signs of life. Still, something felt off. The air vibrated with tension, as though the very rocks were holding their breath. "Sir," said Lieutenant Zira, approaching Xylar cautiously. Her antennae quivered with unease. "We've found evidence of recent habitation. Tools, energy conduits, and these." She held up a small object, a fragment of metal etched with symbols unfamiliar to the Vorthak. Xylar examined it closely. These markings weren't part of any known language in the galaxy. "Human," he whispered, his voice tinged with both awe and dread. "They're still alive." Suddenly the ground trembled. A deafening roar echoed through the caverns as the asteroid's defenses came online. Automated turrets emerged from hidden alcoves, firing plasma bolts at the intruders. Chaos erupted as the Vorthak scrambled to retaliate. Amidst the chaos, Kayla watched from the shadows. She hadn't wanted to use her traps, but desperation left her little choice. As the firefight raged on, she activated another failsafe, a gravity well generator that destabilized the asteroid's core. The entire structure began to collapse. "Retreat!" Xylar barked, realizing too late that they were walking into a trap. "Get back to the ship!" But Kayla wasn't about to let them escape unscathed. With a flick of her wrist, she triggered a secondary system, a homing beacon embedded in the debris field outside. Within moments, dozens of derelict drones, salvaged and reprogrammed over the years, descended upon the Vorthak cruiser, swarming it like insects. Back aboard the cruiser, alarms blared as the hull integrity dropped perilously low. Xylar clenched his fists, furious at himself for underestimating his quarry. He should have known better than to believe humanity was truly gone. These beings were tenacious, cunning, and utterly unpredictable. Then, without warning, the ship's systems froze. Screens flickered, controls locked up, and the hum of the engines died. The bridge fell silent, except for the faint sound of static crackling over the comms. "What's happening?" Zira demanded, her voice rising in panic. Before anyone could answer, a holographic figure materialized in the center of the room. It was Kayla, or rather, a digital representation of her. Her eyes glowed with an eerie blue light, and her mechanical arm flexed menacingly. "You made a mistake coming here," she said, her voice calm yet laced with menace. "You think you've conquered the galaxy? You haven't seen what I can do." Xyler stepped forward, his claws extended. "Who are you?" "I'm the last human," Kayla replied, "and I'm not alone." At her command, the ship's systems rebooted, but not under Vorthak control. Every screen displayed streams of data, images of countless other asteroids, and hidden bunkers scattered across the galaxy. Each one housed remnants of humanity, survivors who had adapted, evolved, and prepared for the day when they would rise again. "You've hunted us, destroyed our homes, and erased our history," Kayla continued. "Now it's your turn to face extinction." With that, the hologram vanished, leaving the Vorthak stunned. Moments later, the cruiser shuddered violently as self-destruct protocols initiated throughout the vessel. Xylar barely managed to evacuate, with his crew before the ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Weeks passed, and news of the incident spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The Vorthak Empire, once feared and untouchable, found itself facing an unprecedented threat. Reports poured in of coordinated attacks on their outposts, sabotage of supply lines, and mysterious disappearances of entire fleets. Humanity, presumed dead, had returned with a vengeance. For Kayla, this was only the beginning. She had spent years preparing for this moment, rallying the scattered remnants of her species and arming them with knowledge stolen from their enemies. Together they would reclaim what had been lost and ensure that no one would ever underestimate humanity again. As she gazed out at the stars from her new command center, Kayla allowed herself a rare smile. The galaxy had forgotten about humans, written them off as a footnote in history. But now, they were writing a new chapter, one filled with fire, fury, and hope. And the Vorthak? They weren't ready for what came next.